Hello guys, what's up? Welcome to my new live stream. It's a very special day today. Today marks, as you can see right up there, March 22nd, the 25th anniversary of Resident Evil. Happy anniversary, Resident Evil. And it's just totally awesome day. The fans are totally bugging out, and it's just so much fun. Um, a lot of excitement for the future of the franchise. I mean, you got Village coming out next month, and there's a lot of hype for that. A lot of anticipation of where the story is gonna go, and the story has given us, and this franchise has given us such iconic characters over the years, and I couldn't let Women's Month finish without talking about the second ever female icon that I was badass kind of superhero icon that I was introduced to as a kid after Lara Croft, and that is, of course, the iconic first lady, first queen of Resident Evil, and that is Jill Valentine. And I remember shortly after getting the PS1 as a kid, my brother was gifted Resident Evil 3, which was the first Resident Evil we ever played. And it was just, I believe it was for Christmas of '99. And we just instantly fell in love with the franchise. And I immediately just being introduced to Jill, and seeing her go through everything she went through, and come out the other side. I instantly, and of course the Nemesis being the iconic villain it is, but Jill persevering and overcoming the Nemesis, just instantly fell in love with the character, and she became my second ever female icon badass that I was introduced to as a child. So I had to talk about her. There's no way I could go finish Women's Month without talking about her. So let's dive right in. Let's start with the beginning. It was a couple years later, actually, that I ended up playing the original Resident Evil, whose anniversary is today. And I just wanted to start from there. We go from the beginning, and just see this all play out, and take a look at Jill's journey over the years and seeing everything she went through, and just have some fun. Just play these games and have a great time. So let's start off. Yeah, for some reason the cutscene footage is a little choppy. There's that iconic first hallway introduction. Biohazard. That is the original title of Resident Evil. Couldn't be trademarked in the United States because of a similar company or something that had it. So there you go. So that's where we ended up with Resident Evil. It's kind of a blessing in disguise because the name Resident Evil is just so iconic now. Of course, we gotta start with the amazing Jill. This is sort of like a hybrid celebration. This is the Resident Evil celebration and also the celebration of one of my all-time favorite female icons, Jill Valentine.
Alpha Team is flying around the forest zone situated in northwest Raccoon City, where we're searching for the helicopter of our compatriots Bravo Team, who disappeared during the middle of our mission. No, I haven't found it yet. Bizarre murder cases have recently occurred in Raccoon City. There are outlandish reports of families being attacked by a group of about 10 people.
Oh wow, I forgot this is the uncensored.
Bravo Team went to the hideout of the group and disappeared.
Look, Chris!
Make sure I'm actually live this time.
It was Bravo Team's helicopter. Nobody was in it. But strangely, most of the equipment was still there.
Okay, I am live.
However, we soon discovered why.
I think the footage is like really out of sync. Hey, this. No, yeah, there's a severe delay in the footage. I'm gonna have to play that back later on. See, yep, they thought they were safe, and
Wow, what a mansion!
so of course the Stars team was brought in to investigate, where the Alpha team was brought in to investigate what happened to Bravo team, and then they end up getting trapped in a situation where they have to run to the mansion, the iconic Resident Evil mansion. And of course, we started here with Jill, Barry, and Wesker. In the main hall, Chris is missing, and we have the setup for one of the most iconic stories in gaming and the games of all time.
Let me handle this.
It's crazy how both 1996 gave birth to Tomb Raider and Resident Evil. It's kind of like that year was just so critical in gaming. It's amazing, you know. Two of the most famous names in gaming and female icons in gaming were born, and two of the most famous franchises in gaming, hands down, were born. Two games that revolutionized gaming: Tomb Raider and Resident Evil.
What is this?
And they both started off with these little polygonal shapes.
Blood. Jill, see if you can find any other clues. I'll be examining this. Hope this is not Chris's blood.
And so the mystery begins. It's amazing how well lit this hallway is to create a horror scene, but like in the remake it's much darker, which we're gonna check out in a little. This scene here freaked me out. I know the game was, by the time I had played this game, it was already like 2002 and game graphics had gotten better, or 2001, but it was so freaky. It was just so well. It's rare that a introduction in gaming is just so like iconic. I mean, well, not rare, but you know, there's certain moments in gaming that are just historic and just remembered forever by the gaming fans and by the media. And that zombie introduction was just so chillingly, perfectly executed that it was just literally it was like the perfect introduction to the series.
What is it?
Watch out! It's a monster!
Let me take care of this.
Usually one of those will do him, but not do him, but it'll kill a zombie. But
What is it?
Kenneth
the
was
first
killed
zombie,
maybe by this creature.
that's what it was.
Anyway, let's report this to Wesker.
Of course, thinking fast on her feet, she wants to go report this back to their captain, and then they find out he's missing. That is, of course, until later when they find out that he's purposely missing from specific reasons,
And don't leave this hall for the time being.
aka he's a traitor. So it turns out that Wesker betrayed them and was working for Umbrella the whole time, the pharmaceutical company behind the experiments that caused the zombies to be created and everything.
Find anything, Jill?
Because they're experimenting with the T virus, which is,
What is this all about?
you know,
I can't figure it out at all.
and other viruses as well.
Beats me too.
Now it's Wesker's time to disappear. I don't know what's going on.
Well, it can't be helped. Let's search for him separately. I'll check the dining room again.
Okay, I'll try the door on the opposite side.
This mansion is gigantic. We could get into trouble if we get lost. We should start from the first floor, okay? And Jill, here's a lockpick.
It's the most famous
It might be handy.
lines.
You, the
Master of unlocking.
take it.
Oh man, it's literally one of the most iconic lines and descriptions of Jill ever.
Maybe I'll need it.
The master of unlocking. I mean, come on, so awesome.
Listen,
So her and Barry
if
part
something
ways.
happens, let's meet up in this hall. This time I'll be there.
So Resident Evil, I believe, still holds the world record of worst gaming dialogue ever in the Guinness Book of World Records, and it's so funny. It's just so appropriate. Hey. Hey guys in the chat, love you very much. I was trying to change the thumbnail, but I'll do it later because I can't seem to do it right now. Okay. So this one thing that's super interesting about Jill as a character is I remember somebody mentioning this in this series called Best Game Ever that used to premiere on TV. I think it was like an on-demand series about, you know, iconic gaming franchises. This was years back. This was like in 2005, so it's been a while. And Resident Evil was, of course, one of the games they were talking about. And they said that Jill, even though she has this sort of kind of very positive-y vibe about her, even though she's going through all this stuff, and kind of like dependable, strong sense of being, that she's definitely a much more seasoned person than, let's say, Rebecca, who's very much young and a newbie in the Stars team. You know, Rebecca's about 18 and very young. It's very clear that she's a rookie, and they mention that a lot. Oh, the iconic dog scene. Ah. And so, whereas they said with Jill, you could get a sense that she's been through some more things. You know, she's a little older. I believe she's 23 or so in the first game, and you could tell. And I remember one of the speakers was saying you can tell she's been through a lot, and she's definitely much more seasoned of a person and has a lot more experience than someone like, let's say, Rebecca. So she's probably had to deal with life-threatening situations in her past, and it's hardened her. And but I mean, despite that, I mean, there was no way any of them were prepared for what they faced in they were facing in that forest in the mansion. So I'm gonna play the original up until the part where Barry gives her that infamous line about Jill's sandwich. Just because it's just so, like, it's an iconic moment that you just have to watch. That is so freaky. I remember this part also freaked me out. I was like, oh my god, like, what do you do? Because the doors are, like, both locked. Like, literally, they're both locked. And I was like, oh shoot, did I mess up? Am I gonna get killed now? And then, no, not good, but... And then, Barry, I believe, comes...
Hey, what's going on?
Jill? Is that you, Jill? What happened?
Barry, help me, please. The door won't open. Quick!
Stay away from the door, Jill. I'm gonna kick this door down.
I mean, that's one thing that's so crazy. The mansion is iconic as the game itself. I mean, I think it's what helped make the game so iconic was this. The mansion was like almost like its own character. I mean, it was full of these traps and little twists and turns at every corner and these zombies. There you go.
Right. Barry, thanks for saving my life. But Barry, didn't you say you're going back to the dining room to do some research? Why on earth are you here?
I just had something I wanted to check. Now, let's get back to searching for the lost captain and Chris, shall we?
Ah,
Thank you,
mysterious.
Barry.
Yeah, so there's the original Resident Evil for now. That's the game that came out 25 years ago today. I do want to try to see if I can get the original introduction video so we can watch it. It's really good. It's not going to be the uncensored version in this one, but it's going to... I just will be able to see it in its normal frame rate and pacing because the other way was just awful. Hold on. It was just so slow. There's something about that PC version, the Source Next version, that you do the classic Rebirth mod to. That, I don't know, it just does not... The playback of the cutscenes is just really slow. There you go. There's the iconic introduction running at its actual pace. So right now what I'm running is the actual, I was running the PC version first. Now this is the PlayStation 1 Director's Cut version. Has some different music, but the introduction I believe should be the same. Just gonna put original. Resident Evil. Oh, it's so iconic. There's just so many things about this game that was just so memorable, and like really just little details like that voice of the guy that goes Resident Evil in the beginning that just really struck a chord with gaming audiences and just became so iconic. Almost as iconic as the zombies and the mansion itself.
Alpha Team is flying around the forest zone situated in northwest Raccoon City, where we're searching for the helicopter of our compatriots Bravo Team, who disappeared during the middle of our mission. Bizarre murder cases have recently occurred in Raccoon City. There are outlandish reports of families being attacked by a group of about 10 people.
This is the censored opening. There was 2 versions of this opening. In fact, 3. There was a censored version that most countries saw, like the United States, where it just showed the newspaper, sort of, instead of the actual bodies. And there's an uncensored version where they showed, like, the bodies of the people that were being eaten. And it was, I believe, for Japan or for some other countries where they got the uncensored introduction. It's very interesting how they kind of introduced this franchise by giving us not the animated people first, but live action actors playing them. It's interesting. Almost like I predicted its own franchise in the movies. Which, by the way, today we got some awesome news. The Resident Evil film franchise Reboot is coming out this year in September. It's going to be based more closely on the video game series. It's going to adapt Resident Evils 1 and 2. So it's going to adapt this game and Resident Evil 2. And will star such Jill, Chris, Claire, Leon. So it's going to be a faithful adaptation, or at least, you know, mostly faithful from the concepts that we're seeing. The mansion's going to be there, the police station's going to be there, so definitely the iconic locations we all know and love. Which is a great... This reboot is completely unrelated to the Milla Jovovich movies, which, you know, I do love them, but I'm happy to see a more faithful, being the fan of the games, I'm happy to see a more faithful faithful movie adaptation of the story in the games. So you got this introduction. Poor Joseph was taken by the zombie dogs. And, yeah, and Brad Vickers just leaves them there. Oh, Brad. So this is the Alpha Team of stars, and they're running away from the zombie dogs, headed towards the mansion. Or at least anywhere that they think is safe. So you have our beloved Jill running to where she thinks it's safe with the rest of the team, but little do they know that it's not as safe as they think. And so it all begins. I love this sort of like a cast curtain raising. So okay, Chris I think is 28? Is that 25? His age is hard to make out. Okay, so she's 23. I can see the 3. So yes, Jill is 23, like I mentioned earlier. Of course, Barry, who I believe is 30. Rebecca, 18. Yep. See? God, I love it. It's so iconic. It's so classic. It's 36, I believe. Oh, man. Even though this wasn't the first one I played, I mean, this is just so... Everything about this game and all the moments just are so memorable. And it's no wonder it became a forever classic in the gaming history books.
Captain Wesker, where's Chris?
And then we have the same introduction and everything. So basically, I just wanted to show the introduction video because it's just so awesome and just very memorable. So from Resident Evil 1, you know, Jill and her fellow STARS members escape. You know, as a matter of fact, you know, while we're focusing on 1, I'm going to go to the remake. Because the remake... So Shinji Mikami, the creator of Resident Evil, and I believe he was like the lead project designer, he, a couple years after its release, actually about 6 years after it came out, ended up remaking it for the GameCube, and this remake is what he says, because at the time of the first Resident Evil, video game technology was still very much, getting to the level where it was getting better. Like 3D graphics were new. I mean, 1996 was literally probably the year that a lot of people say 3D graphics was officially born in console gaming, and like fully rendered 3D games were starting to become a thing. You got Quake, Super Mario 64, Tomb Raider, and then Resident Evil all coming out in 1996. And that's part of the reason I said that 1996 was such freaking important years for gaming. It was one of the, if not one of the most important years in modern gaming. If not the most important, I mean. You had Super Mario 64, which literally revolutionized 3D gaming. Tomb Raider, which also revolutionized 3D gaming. Resident Evil, which essentially gave birth, because Alone in the Dark did it first, but Resident Evil really refined it and cemented it as a genre in gaming, survival horror, that is. And then you had Quake, which was one of the first fully rendered 3D games ever. Using actual 3D graphics in a full running time 3D environment. So yeah, so years later, Shinji Mikami remakes the game, and since technology had leaped a lot in those 6 years, and gaming technology definitely moved forward incredibly in those 6 years. He says that this version of Resident Evil is what his original vision for it really was. And that's awesome. It's so awesome to see and hear that, and see someone's original vision get to see the light of day with the new technology and new things available at the time that allowed him to let it come to life. So yeah, let's take a look at the remake. The remake is definitely, I was gonna start with it, but then I figured because the original game did just celebrate its anniversary, it would be best to play the original game first and see just how far it's come throughout the years, and see how far Jill has come throughout the years. I just want to actually play that first intro video. So yeah, just this really interesting introduction. Instead of the hallway, we get a zombie's body being reanimated and coming up, and somebody taking it down. Fun fact about Resident Evil, actually, it was originally supposed to be a first-person shooter, which would have been very interesting. I mean, they did end up doing that in Resident Evil Survivor, but I think it's so much better that it turned out the way it did, with the third-person camera angle perspective, tank controls. Very cinematic thing it's got going on. So you move around. Anytime you press up, it's up. Anytime you press down, it's down. Left and right. That's what tank controls basically were. And then you have these static camera angles. And this is what made the original game so iconic and classic. I mean, it helped make the original game so iconic and classic that you had these sort of cinematic angles. It's like a camera was like kind of just being positioned in places. And of course, you have Jill, Valentine. I remember the first time I played this remake, I was blown away. It actually really freaked me out because the remake is actually much scarier than the original, and is a humongous improvement on its original. It's just one of those remakes that's just 10 times better than the original game, as iconic as the original game is.
Bizarre murder cases have recently occurred in Raccoon City. There are outlandish reports of families being attacked by a group of about 10 people. Victims were apparently eaten. The Bravo team was sent in to investigate, but we lost contact.
Look, Chris.
And it's crazy because Capcom had a exclusivity deal with Capcom for a while.
Save for the remaining body of Kevin.
So, this remake was exclusive for the GameCube until 2015 when the remaster came out for PC, Xbox, PS4. But yeah, this intro was just so much freakier in the remake. Well, I mean, the original has its freakiness too, but it's just. Oh, Jill, awesome Jill, Veronica. I believe I forgot her name, Veronica Roth or something like that. Ended up being her face. I mean the model that they based Jill on for a while, from the remake and on until I think it was the newer games. No, Joseph. Yeah, the remake's intro was just so much darker and just had like a lot more emotion tied to it. It's just very sad to see her partner go down. She's shooting at the dogs, but they wouldn't die. And then they turn to her, and despite everything she's been through, she's never seen or experienced anything like this before. And then Chris saves her. It's amazing the difference you can see between the two games. It's like night and day. It's insane. Hands down, this is, in my opinion, the greatest gaming remake ever. Greatest game remake ever made. Till this day. Oh. So now Wesker saves their lives. It's like, okay, I'm gonna keep them alive as long as I need them, and then when I don't need them anymore, it's crazy. Yeah, at least he calls it a mansion in the remake, not that house. Which is always kind of funny. He's like, head for that house. It's a giant house. But yeah.
There are only 3 STARS members left now: Captain Wesker, Barry, and myself. We don't know where Chris is.
Yeah, so STARS, a Special Tactics and Rescue Force. I meant to mention this earlier. It's a special team that they're part of, working for the Raccoon City Police Department.
Hey, Wesker, where's Chris?
And so the Bravo team was sent in first to investigate the mysterious, bizarre murders where people were getting eaten. And then they disappeared. That's why Alpha team is sent in.
Chris?
No.
Jill, go and investigate.
I'm going with her. Chris and I go back a long way.
All right. You two go. I'll secure this area.
Stay sharp. A dining room.
Alright. So we take control of our iconic leading first Resident Evil.
What is it?
A lady, Jill. And yep. Just like before, the blood. Albeit everything, of course, looks 10 times more realistic.
See if you can find any other clues. I'll be examining this. Let's just hope it's not Chris's.
To be fair, actually it did release it on the Wii also, but it was sort of just like a re-release of the GameCube version. And then many years later is when they did the remaster in 2015 for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. And then eventually they released it on the Nintendo Switch, which is kind of cool because like it came back to its home console, Nintendo. No home console company, that is. And then we have the iconic zombie intro again, much freakier. You know the original one is freaky too, but. I never noticed the eyeball moving until just now. That is freaky. So everything is just so... The atmosphere was just so perfect in this game. And you have the lightning, you have the darker hallway, like I mentioned. I mentioned how in the original the hallway was so brightly lit, which I get. The technology for the time didn't really allow for this dynamic lighting. But the remake, they were able to do it.
Barry!
What is it?
Look out! It's a monster!
Let me take care of it. What the hell is this thing?
I found Kenneth killed by this thing. Let's report this to Wesker.
I sadly do not remember the name of Jill's voice actress in this game, but she was great as well. Definitely, Resident Evil remake. Nicole. Oh,
Wesker!
wait, no, it's for Resident Evil 3 remake. Nicole
What we look
Tompkins.
for. Let's not leave this hall.
Good idea.
Alright, and so, just like the original, Wesker goes missing. This was just such an incredibly faithful remake, while at the same time just reinventing the incredible graphics, just like night and day from the original. And there's certain moments that twist your expectations, because
Any luck, Jill?
they're like, we know that
Nothing.
there's people that played the original, so we're gonna turn some of the events on their heads so that
Same here.
you think that something's gonna happen, but in reality something else
Not much
happens.
we can do.
And there was new areas too that just expanded on the original in such brilliant ways.
Okay, then I'll try the door on the other side.
This mansion is gigantic. We
And
could
of course,
easily get lost.
the characters were given much more life,
Okay.
and especially Jill.
Oh,
And
I almost forgot. It's a lockpick. You'd make better use of it.
so we don't have our iconic Master of Unlocking line, but
I may need it.
Listen,
being that I guess they wanted to be a little more realistic.
let's meet up in this hall. Got it?
Okay.
I mean, even from then, like Master of Unlocking from the original, and it's still clear that she's very good at it here. It's clear that Jill is someone who's very resourceful, who, through her experience with, I think it was Delta Force, was what she was with before STARS, which is a branch of the Army or Special Forces or something. She gained a lot of experience and, has been through a lot and has gained a lot of knowledge over the years. And so, the fact that she's such a great unlocker just shows that she's a very resourceful person and, a very intellectual human being who knows to think, who has an excellent thinking on her feet kind of sense of being. Like, I love how you can just see like the particles floating in the air there. It's just insane. Oh, and one really cool thing, because I won't be able to show the footage in this video because probably the copyright claims and everything. The actress who, till this day, I think is the best Jill Valentine ever from movies. I mean, she's one of the best instances of an iconic gaming character being adapted for live action. Her name is Sienna Guillory, and she played Jill Valentine in Resident Evil Apocalypse. And she looked the part just so perfectly, and she was just really great in the role. I mean, her acting was... I loved her acting, and she did a great job bringing the character to life. And she even did this thing in one part of the hallway. I think she's one of those actresses that takes on the game character role that she really looked and studied at her closely in the game. Because there's a moment where she's walking down the church hallway where she does this, where she puts the gun down and starts walking in this pace like she was walking in... like Jill's walking pace in Resident Evil Remake. And it was just such a cool thing to see an actress, have such a deep love for the character that she'll put those little details in there. And, the director maybe also kind of enticed that as well. But, you could tell from the behind the scenes from the movie, if you ever have a chance, go and check it out. The behind the scenes footage of the movie, she definitely had a deep love for the character. And, oh, the arrowhead can be removed. Yep, of course. So, you see, big change there from the original. So, usually where we go across the hall to get to the trophy room or whatnot, you could call it. Oh no! Sorry. The zombie bites are pretty lethal in this game. So, where you usually go across the hall, and this one you had to go back to the dining hall and find this new path. Because the hall across is actually locked. And so you have to find a key to go through this other path. There's a new room, as you saw before, the one with the crows. There's a new room. that's been added to. You can find this arrowhead to then unlock this sort of secret kind of dungeon underneath a gravestone in the graveyard. And then get the sword key, which is the first key to. There's these different keys in the mansion that you have to unlock, and the mansion in itself is like a giant puzzle. So you unlock it using keys and items, and it opens up to you as you go along. And this was one of the first games I remember, and possibly, it's a staple of like survival horror now. But you have a sort of a space that you backtrack through, and kind of find different keys and items to open up, and the space expands to you and opens up as you go along. And it's really cool. So instead of like a game where you're going through levels, like let's say a classic Mario, you have to sort of use the space and open it up using these items and keys that you find along the way, and it becomes bigger and more expansive, and then you find your way out eventually, like let's say out of the mansion or out of whatever you're trying to escape from. Survival horror's basic concept is like that. You have a place that you're kind of in, like the mansion or the police station or whatnot, and you're using the resources in there, like the items and keys, to expand the mysteries within, and eventually the basic goal is to open it up and explore it more deeply so as to find the way out. The goal is to escape. It's like in a giant escape room, if you want to think about it that way. Oh, so no, this door is actually open. It's just the door to get to the room where the dogs come out of the window is locked. That's why you need to find the sword key first, and then there we go. And alright, so this part, as somebody who played the first game and then played this remake, those moments, like the additions where you get the sword key from the back, and then little things change your expectations, really did freak me out, such as this one. I mean, not the additions freaked me out, but the new surprises that turned you on your head, like this one, where the zombie just comes out of nowhere and you weren't expecting that. Because the original, the zombie's laying in front of the bookcase here, or the whatever case that is. And so, yeah. So, I just love those moments they threw in. Like, aside from the new additional rooms and everything, I just love those moments they threw in to throw off the experienced Resident Evil 1 players. Oh, did I? Oh, I forgot to get the key on the back of the book. So they're like, oh, Resident Evil 1 original player? You think the zombie's on the floor? Oh, no, mysteriously he's not here now. But then he's going to come out of nowhere and surprise you. And there's another moment right here that turned the experienced players' expectations on their heads. So instead of so you get faked out by the zombie dogs, which is awesome. So you think the zombie dogs are going to come out because that's what happened in the original, right? But no, in this one, they don't come out. They instead break the glass just a teensy bit, making you think they're going to come out and trick you. So yeah, was it Julia Voth? Yeah, Julia Voth, I believe, was her name. She was the model used to. Her likeness was used. She was the visual model whose appearance they used for Jill Valentine from Resident Evil Remake on. Until I believe the 3 remake, where they used a different facial actress. A body model actress, that is, to use her appearance. And of course the iconic shotgun again. And yep, just like part 1. And just like the original, the little indication of something activating or something being activated. and then she notices the dust from the ceiling, and it's freakishly coming down, and she has to be saved by Barry, or just in general. And this one, it's crazy because in the original, again, this is another moment that twists your expectations, because whereas in the feeling's coming down much faster than it did in the original, and she starts to actually have to start leaning down so the ceiling doesn't get her. It's crazy.
Grab my hand.
Oof, and she just narrowly escapes. Dude, all these changes freaked me out as a player of the original on Resident Evil. I mean, it was like, holy heck. I mean, I played the original probably when I was 8, and then I played the remake when I was like 10 or 11, and I was like, whoa.
That was a close one.
It made things much more realistic, and there's the line. Although it's a little different. He doesn't call it a Jill sandwich. He says she would have fit nicely into a sandwich, but...
I'm glad and all, but why are you here?
I just had something I wanted to check. Anyway, we should get back to searching for Wesker and Chris.
Thanks, Barry. I owe you one.
Don't
That'll come back later. When she finds out that Barry was actually working with Wesker because Wesker threatened his family. Or I think it was Umbrella or Wesker threatened his family if he didn't help him. If he didn't help Wesker, then she owes him one, so she lets him live when she has the opportunity to kill him to save herself in her mind. She lets him live in the official canon of the story. And then you can make different choices. In the game, you can make different choices. Or that's the one choice. You can choose to give Barry his gun back, or like to not. And then if you don't give him the gun back, he gets killed by Lisa, who's this mutant character whose parents were involved in the Spencer Mansion family situation. It's a long story, but AKA in the canon he lives, and yeah, because she caught on that he was gonna betray her, so she like kind of she maneuvers and takes his gun, and she's so badass. And so that's pretty much the story of Resident Evil 1. So they escape. They find out Wesker was bad. They manage to escape, and then they go back to Raccoon City, and this is sort of like where part 2 starts, but since part 2 involves different characters, it's Chris's sister Claire and Leon Kennedy, a rookie cop, who is gonna start his first day when the zombie outbreak happens. Terrible first day. So, but since I am following Jill and I wanted to sort of follow her journey, we skip to Resident Evil 3, which is where her story picks up. And so we're going to use the original first. Since on the PC I don't have Resident Evil 3 Remake. Yeah, sorry, that for some reason that happens sometimes. It looks so bizarre, but... yeah. So, what was I gonna say? Oh, yes. So, okay, after the events of Resident Evil 1, they escape the mansion. Wesker's presumed dead. Barry, Jill, Rebecca, and Chris escape. And Rebecca, by the way, had her own journey in Resident Evil 0. Like, that happens before the mansion, but that's a separate story for another day. And so Jill escapes with everyone. And so they go back and they try to warn everybody about what was happening in the police department. Naturally, since they have no proof, they're thought as being... people thought their story was insane, and nobody believed them, and they were quickly discredited and suspended from duty. And they quickly decide to take matters into their own hands. So Chris ends up leaving to try to go to the Umbrella Corporation's headquarters in Europe, I believe. And Jill stays behind to try to kind of piece together some evidence and try to figure out how she can prove her claims. and that's where Resident Evil 3 kind of takes place. So the only two members left in the city, the only two members left of STARS are in the city are Jill and Brad Vickers. The Brad Vickers who, yes, he sort of just left them hanging in the beginning there in the introduction of Resident Evil 1, where they had to then run to the mansion because there's no other option. But he ends up saving them at the end of Resident Evil 1 by giving them a helicopter ride back into the city. So he sort of redeems himself there. But yeah. So that's interesting. And so that's where Resident Evil 3 starts. So this was actually the first Resident Evil I ever played with my brother. And it was a great story and gave birth to one of the most iconic villains, if not the most iconic villain in Resident Evil history, Nemesis. And so let's go ahead and dive in. And also, in my opinion, and a lot of fans' opinions, this game has the most iconic voice actress for Jill ever. Her name is actually Catherine Disher. I just had to double check to make sure I was getting it correct. And so this is like Jill's kind of defining moment. This is her defining story in the Resident Evil franchise. Her escape from Raccoon City, overcoming this Terminator-like biohazard mutant that's been sent by the Umbrella Corporation to eliminate the remaining STARS members in the city so as to silence them and not allow for the truth to get out. And so, basically to tie up loose ends, so to speak. So, and in any event, so to like basically to kill the surviving members of the mansion so as to keep the story silent and tie up the loose ends. And so, okay, so let's move on. So Catherine Disher's performance is honestly amazing and definitely my favorite to this day.
It all began as an ordinary day in September. An ordinary day in Raccoon City. A city controlled by Umbrella.
I think that's why they always do the movies in September, because of the date is so significant for Resident Evil.
To oppose them. And that lack of strength would ultimately lead to their destruction. I suppose they had to suffer the consequences of their actions. But there would be no forgiveness. If only they had had the courage to fight. It's true that once the wheels of justice begin to turn, nothing can stop them. Nothing. It was Raccoon City's last chance, and my last chance. My last escape.
This is probably one of the most iconic stories in Resident Evil pantheon, of her escape from Raccoon City. And and funny thing though, actually, about Catherine Disher. So Catherine Disher has also done acting in TV and film, and I'm very happy for her. She actually, in recent years, ever since I think 2007 and on, she actually has been part of the Good Witch franchise on Hallmark. And I was so curious because, like, I love her in this role and as Jill. I mean, she's literally probably the most iconic voice of Jill, and is cemented in Resident Evil history. And so I was like, I want to check out that show and see how it is. And she's the mayor, I believe. And yeah, just so happy for her. She's just so funny. If you close your eyes, you can still hear Jill Valentine. It's amazing. Just have this crazy zombie outbreak situation going on, just like the beginning of every classic zombie movie ever. I mean, for a long time, Resident Evil was synonymous with zombies. I mean, it was literally that classic zombie franchise. I mean, things changed when 4 came along and they became more intelligent and all that, and they weren't necessarily zombies anymore. They were Las Plagas or Ouroboros. So, yeah. And so, yeah, this game definitely is the most iconic portrayal of Jill Valentine. Not only in her voice, this is her obviously most badass moment ever, but also badass, badass portrayal ever. And this is definitely the most iconic outfit that she's ever worn in the Resident Evil franchise. I mean, the two-top and miniskirt just became an instant classic, and actually, I think I shouldn't have wasted the bullet because I think you heal when you get to the warehouse. So it's in stark contrast to the Resident Evil 1's original and remake. Resident Evil 3 and its remake are actually very different. The story is very, very different. There's only a couple moments in the remake that reflect the original almost exactly. Oh, September 28th.
The monsters have overtaken the city. Somehow, I'm still alive.
Cannot wait to see the new Jill Valentine actress. Knock on wood. I mean, I've seen her in Ready Player One. I keep forgetting her name, but she was in Ready Player One, and she was so badass in that, even though she was bad. But
I'm sorry about your daughter, but there isn't gonna be any rescue. We have to get out of here.
Jill Valentine.
I'd rather starve to death in here than be eaten by one of those undead monsters. Now leave me alone.
Yeah, Dario. I feel a little bad for him, but at the same time, it's like he's definitely something's wrong there. I mean, the man just had his daughter die. I mean, that's terrible, but you know.
I told you. I'm not leaving.
Poor Jill's just trying to save his life. Does he talk again? I forget. Ah. Yep. So, it's funny. This outfit is actually unlockable in the Resident Evil remake. I just didn't choose it. Actually, you have to also, I think, you have to beat the game first in the remake. The Resident Evil remake, that is, the first one that I was just playing before this. You have to beat that game once, to unlock the Resident Evil 3 outfit, the two-top and miniskirt outfit. Which, that unlockable costume and the remake itself got so many people hyped for the idea of a Resident Evil 2 and 3 remake on the GameCube in similar fashion. And it's funny because eventually we got those remakes, but they were in a completely different perspective. You know, they were the over-the-shoulder perspective from, like, let's say, like the Resident Evil 4 on era. But they definitely was so different in the sense that, I mean, thankfully, even though it had the similar perspective of the Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6 Revelations 1 and 2 era, they were very different in that. They were, as opposed to Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6, which were more action-based, the Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes definitely stood true to the survival horror roots of their originals, and more so 2 than 3, because 2 was more of a remake, 3 was more of a reimagining in terms of the remakes. And, oh wait, I have to grab the other. The Resident Evil 2 remake was definitely a very faithful remake, and Resident Evil 3 remake was much more reimagining. Changed a lot of the story and changed a lot of aspects of it. I still loved it, though. Just certain iconic areas were cut out, like the clock tower and everything. We'll get to that in a little bit. We're gonna try to get to the remake here as well, which I'll have to switch over to the PS4. Let's see. That's pretty much, I think, everything I'll need for now. I'll save the F8 spray just so as to be more careful with that. And so, okay. So it's you know, this is definitely her defining hour, you know, Jill Valentine. This is you know, I wanna try to get up at least to the first Nemesis encounter, so it's to sort of try to build that kind of, you know, arch nemesis thing they had going on. No puns intended. I love it. It's just like through all the zombies. Definitely want to get that shotgun. Oops. I was trying to like dodge, but I forgot that's not a very reliable mechanic in this game. Oops. Yeah, I gotta be careful. I'm gonna start dropping the caution. Oops. Oh. Wow, I am getting bit to bits. And next time I should just waste the handgun bullets. Thankfully, it's incredible the amount of bites she can take and still be alright. I mean, I thought I would have dropped her at least danger by then, but still on caution. Okay, good. Oh, gotten kind of, what's it called, rusty at dodging the zombies here. Oh. I remember me and my brother were always debating whether or not you can save that guy, and obviously, you know, you can't. His animation was already made to be on the floor like that. It's just crazy. And you hear him, like, calling for help, and then you're, like, thinking, dang, could I save him? But no, you know, it's crazy. Oh, and there's Brad Vickers. The infamous guy who left us in the forest with our alpha team in Resident Evil 1. But, then came back to save us at the end of the game, at least.
Get away!
Brad, hang in there. Why isn't someone doing something about this?
I didn't know you were still alive, Jill. The police aren't trained for this kind of situation. What could they do? Listen, he's coming for us. We're both gonna die.
So he's foreshadowing the villain.
You'll see. He's after STARS members. There's no escape.
You would think after that, I mean, knowing that there's something following you guys, you'd maybe want to stick together, but no, he's just like, I'm going off solo, gonna chance it on my own. But no, yeah, so there's a really poignant moment there where Brad Vickers, you know, the original kind of flaky guy from Resident Evil 1, but then rescuer at the end of that game, foreshadows the fact that something is coming after them, that something wants to silence them. Something that they find out later on was made by Umbrella, the Nemesis, a bioweapon, fierce bioweapon that was made to tie up loose ends, as I mentioned earlier. Yeah, I definitely need some healing because oh no! Oh, okay, I'm probably gonna be in danger now. Oof. Wow. Amazingly, I'm still on I'm probably on orange caution now. This part I have to be careful with because yeah, I'm on orange caution. Okay, great. I'm getting to this first save spot. Oh. Okay, so Oh, more gunpowder. Should probably use the first aid spray. Is it in my inventory already? Oh yeah. It's a weird glitch I get with this version sometimes, is that with the emulation. Let's see. Definitely probably want to save. And I'm gonna actually make some shotgun bullets. There we go. Do I need the lighter? No, I don't need the lighter. Not right now. Or the reloading tool, because that's... Okay, so this is one of the most iconic moments in this game and one of the most defining moments for Jill. Sorry, just checking something. Oh, hey, Puppet Plays. Hey, Stevo. Hey. Hey, Solus. Ooh. And then you finally are introduced to the iconic villain. And the iconic line, of course, since he was programmed to hunt them down. Should I dare fight him? I haven't done this in a while. Screw it. What? Nope, nope, not what I'm trying to do. Nope, nope. Okay, you know what? Plan B. Take Brad's, Oh! Get him. Oof. Oof. Oh. Alright, screw it. Normally I would fight, but... yeah, it's been a while. Oh. That freaked me out. I always thought maybe eventually he was gonna break in. And so, okay, one of the most revolutionary things this game did, even though I know what Mr. X kind of did it in part 2, is that Nemesis was able to follow you through certain rooms. So, if you chose not to fight him at certain areas where he would come out, and you'd have to, like, you know, be able to fight him in, if you were to go to a certain room, like a hallway or something, he could actually go through that door and follow you, which was freaky and was a first for the series. Poor Brad. So yeah, the poor Brad meets his end there to Nemesis. Very sad ending for him. But yeah, I mean, 0131. So yeah, I mean, it's so sad because, you know, he's one of your compatriots, but he gets killed by the title monster, and you know, he's essentially like the way we learn how lethal Nemesis really is. Oh, poor Marvin. So, interesting fact about Resident Evil 3: the events of the beginning because there is a time jump in Resident Evil 3 that happens later on when Jill is infected by the virus, and Carlos has to go and find the cure for her in the hospital. There's like a 2-day jump that happens, or 2 or 3-day jump that happens, where then we jump forward in time, and it's like October 1st or something. But originally, when it starts on September 28th, Resident Evil 3 starts off taking place 24 hours before Resident Evil 2. And then when that time jump happens while Jill is infected, the events of Resident Evil 2 happen literally while she's infected, those 2 days, and then what is it called? Picks up after the events of Resident Evil 2, basically, and then the city's destroyed by the government and everything. So. Okay, I don't think I need this anymore. Definitely need the key. Oh, there you go. This is definitely the Resident Evil I've played the most out of all of them. I played this game so many times on so many different consoles. I mean, you had the PlayStation 1 version, the GameCube version. I ended up putting it on the PSP at some point a long time ago. And I played literally it to completion, and then unlocked all the mercenary items and everything on all 3 consoles: PS1, PSP, and GameCube. So needless to say, I love this game very much. Oops, no. I'll take that one just in case, and I think I can leave the shotgun for now. Oops. Oh no! Oops. Probably gonna need those healings more than. No! Apparently I just haven't dodged in a while. If anybody's saying anything in the chat, I'm so sorry. I cannot see you. Hold on. Okay, now I can. Yes, I do agree. It's a lot of backtracking. It is a puzzle within a puzzle. And they do come out after the second time you go to the hall. That is true. The zombie dogs actually do come out the second time in the Resident Evil remake. When they fake you out that first time, they end up coming out the second time you go back in. So a clever way of twisting the expectations of people who have played the original, for sure. And I definitely probably shouldn't have used that, since I just want to get to the... Oh! I wanted to play this game up until the part where the iconic... how do you say, breaking through the window scene. You'll see what that means later, and then we'll go from there. Got the lockpick. Grenade launcher, nice. This is one of the most important weapons in the game. Becomes a formidable weapon to be used against Nemesis. Ah, Dusk of Wesker. Funny thing about that, since I hadn't played Resident Evil 1 when I first played this one, I didn't know who Wesker was. And for some odd reason, I thought, what if he was the guy that became Nemesis? Which doesn't make any sense if you played the other game, obviously, but... yeah, just funny little theories that you come up with when you don't have the background information from the other games.
No! Come anyone! Our platoon is cut off! No survivors found! This is Carlos!
Ah, Carlos. So we get our first little introduction to the game's second lead, Carlos Oliveira, through voice. I mean, you don't really need him until later, but you know, he's definitely one of the, and he hasn't come back since Resident Evil 3, but he's definitely one of the more memorable characters in the series. Ever there's so more in the remake. I mean, that's one of the best things the remake did was expand on him like so well and make him such a lovable character. There we go. Finally a dodge. Oof. Oof. Glass breaking. And so one of the eerie things too about when you're fighting Nemesis, and let's say you escape to another room, that little music that you're hearing now in the background was sort of like a warning that he's still kind of active in the game field, in the sense that he can still pop up later. Once that music disappears, you know you're in the safe, but that's like warning music to let you know that he's still around. Oh, the iconic scene where he comes through and his iconic rocket launcher. Oh, I don't want to get hit by that. Oosh. So yeah, that's one of his most iconic traits too, is having this rocket launcher that he has, that he fights with. His literally iconic weapon, but he's actually more dangerous when he doesn't have it. Oof. Okay, good. I made sure to remember that because that comes in handy later. Otherwise, I would have to come all the way back. Oh, that's a lot of zombies. Oh, see? He came through the door. So that was the first encounter she has with Nemesis, and she escapes. Oh, those are the Drain Deimos. They're a weird enemy that you find later. And one of the more unique enemies to this game. Whereas Resident Evil 2 had Lickers, this one has the Drain Deimos. Oh yeah, that's later on when I find the wrench. Yes, I would love to take the green herb. So what I love about Resident Evil 3 also is that as opposed to Resident Evil 1 where, you know, of course, you know, the iconic, Jill's iconic introduction, and we fall in love with her character then, like, you still had the choice between Chris and Jill, and they're both icons, don't get me wrong. But it's cool that Resident Evil 3 sort of gave Jill the lead, and she was, like, the only, option. She was it's very clearly her story. You know, it's her defining story, and that's why I love this game so much. I mean, it's definitely she got a whole numbered entry to herself. Even though technically speaking this originally was supposed to be a spin-off game but ended up becoming a numbered entry, which I think it makes sense as a numbered entry because it's such an important story in the Resident Evil lore. You know, the destruction of Raccoon City and, you know, all that. So, and of course, you know, us seeing Jill escape and learning more about how deep the Umbrella and the conspiracy goes, even beyond Umbrella. So, very, very cool. And of course, we get to see more of her character and a greater dimension to who she was as a person and what she was willing to do to survive. And of course, just the level of badassery is just unparalleled. Trying to get up to at least where she meets Carlos, so we get a sense of things. Let's see. Oof. Okay, getting a little better at the dodging. Okay, this is where she gets introduced to the Drain Demos. Creepy bug-like things with hook hands and hook legs. They're even creepier in the remake, though. I will say that. They did a great job with these guys in the remake. You know, they're only in one section, but... Oh, and there's Carlos. Oh, I need the crowbar. Do I have the lockpick? Oh, I don't have the lockpick. I love that too. I love how she gets the lockpick in part 3 again and does all this unlocking, kind of keeping up to the tradition, keeping up to that. Barry's a testament that she's the master of unlocking. There are so many zombies in this game. I forgot about that. Resident Evil 3 definitely upped the numbers significantly. But the good thing is, since you can shake them off pretty well in this game as opposed to the older one. I mean, the older one, the zombies would get... in the original, that is. In the original, the zombie would get like 3 bites on you at once, and it dropped you all the way down to like freaking orange caution almost immediately. In this one, you can at least shake them off, and you don't get that far low in health that quickly. Okay. Alright. So, let's see. Let's put this herb away. There's 2. And that 2. And this. Should I save here? Well... Did I just take the ink ribbon with me? Yeah, I guess I did. Gotta fix that. I don't have auto aim on. There we go. There we go. Now I'm able to shoot these guys a little better. I want to clear a lot of these guys out since Nemesis is going to be chasing me a lot through here later on. Love how she gets that animation in part 3 where she's backing away, kind of like in horror as they get closer. It's really cool. No, not him. Him. Whatever. Okay, now that I have the lockpick, I can open up the cabinet here to get the crowbar, which will then allow me to open up the path to the basement. Which will trigger the cutscene where she meets Carlos for the first time.
What's that?
Calm down, lady. I'm no zombie. My name's Carlos, Corporal of Umbrella's Biohazard Countermeasure Force. What's your name?
Jill. Did you just say you belong to Umbrella's army?
Yeah, we came all the way out here to save you civilians. But the mission went bad the minute we landed.
How did he find me?
See, it is pretty clear that she knows that he is stalking her, but she's just amazed that he found her.
Over here.
This rendition of Nemesis is still the best, though, even better than the remakes.
Are you crazy? You could have barbecued both of us.
Gotta love Carlos. His lines were too funny. And Nemesis will drop these items for you, like pieces to weaponry and everything.
I need to ask you something. Why did Umbrella send your team here?
Our mission is to rescue the civilians.
How kind of you. Considering Umbrella caused all this in the first place, those liars.
Look, we're just mercenaries, hired hands. No time for talking. If you can believe me, then join us. Think about it.
Oh yeah, I forgot, when you don't kill Nemesis, he doesn't trigger that line where he's like, "Oh, the foxy ladies love my accent, it drives them crazy." And she's like, "What? Keep dreaming." Because she goes, "I need to ask you something," and he's like, "Oh, you want to ask me out?" He's like, "All the ladies love my accent." It tries to, all the foxy ladies love my accent. It drives them crazy, and she's like, "Nah." She's like, completely shuts him down. She's like, "Nah." She's like, "What? Keep dreaming, bro." I should say bro, but okay, so he's gonna be stalking for a while. I need to find the second of that thing. It's in the newspaper. So if he's behind me, I'm good, but if he's in front of me, the arcade shops. I like that. It's a cute little name for a little. And somehow he's in front of us. I remember I was watching Avalanche talk about this. Avalanche Reviews talk about this game, and he says that even though there was survival horror, survival horror gameplay in 3 is some of the best and most refined of the series, that he did find it a little bit crazy that they introduced a character that was just so much faster and quicker than you. It sort of kind of threw off the balance of the survivor horror a little bit, in his opinion, which I could understand. But at the same time, since this was the first one I played, I thought it was just, Nemesis was just part of the challenge organically or something. But I can see now how, you know, knowing the other games now, I can see how maybe he threw off the balance a little bit when this game first came out. But he definitely was revolutionary at the time, despite the fact that Avalanche, which I understand where he's coming from, says that Mr. X did a lot of what he did in Resident Evil 2. You know, Nemesis, being that it was the first one I played, it was very much a revolution in my eyes and a lot of the gamers' eyes at the time. Photo C. Huh. It's crazy, like somebody literally took a picture of the opening sequence. At last I found evidence I need to prove that the cannibal disease is indeed happening in this city. One man actually ate people to death. He was like a savage animal tearing away at new flesh. Eeh. It was completely disgusting. I've heard rumors that many people are also suffering from this disease now. However, the causes of the disease is not yet known. Freaky. Is this another mystery of the present disease? I'll have to check on it. They have placed Raccoon City under martial law because of the cannibal disease. I have lost contact with the media outside the city, but I won't give up. As a journalist, I won't keep my eyes shut and walk away. I have a duty to the people and in my profession. I don't think the disease has spread nationwide yet. I believe that this city holds the key to its creation and cure. In fact, I'm sure of it. the military has set up blockades around the city to keep people from escaping and spreading the disease. Most of the citizens have either died or have come in contact with the disease. I know that it is the right decision to quarantine the city, but I can't help but pity myself. If I am infected or eaten, it doesn't matter. My fate is already sealed. All I have left is my journalism. I won't give up until I solve the mystery of this deadly disease. I have just discovered that the disease is not spread through the air, but by some other means. Freakish with everything that's going on in the world right now to read something like that. But the man realized it's interesting to see the perspective of, like, that's one thing I love about the files that you find in Resident Evil. It's interesting to see the perspective of the everyday citizens, you know, experiencing this situation, you know, for themselves. Oh! Oh, no, 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 no. Oh. Oh, okay. But, you know, to see the, you know, people and their reactions to what's going on, and, you know, it's crazy. And that guy discovered the truth. You know, the truth that the STARS members were trying to warn everybody about, but nobody believed them. That, you know, this cannibal disease was being spread not by the air, but by some other means, aka bites or scratches, which then transmit the T-virus. The iconic T-virus from the series, of course, and then the G-virus. But in this game, I believe it's mainly the T-virus. The G-virus is a big part of Part 2, I know, which was, you know, kind of like, oh, there's a new virus, you know, in Part 2 that's even worse than the one from Part 1. But I believe Part 3 goes back to the T-virus mostly. Okay. Just checking if I need anything. Oh, the crank. I want to get to the part where she meets Mikhail and the team, because that part is shown very early on in the remake, as opposed to here in the original, where you have to get there after a bit of backtracking and traveling. So I believe once you open up the city hall, he doesn't bother you anymore for a while, which is good. If I can make it there alive. He's right behind me. Oh, that's the punch. Gosh, he was a lethal son of a beesh. Alright, City Hall, City Hall. Ay. Ay. There we go. Alright, now we're safe again. For now. Not for now, but no, for now. There you go. Once you hear his music disappear, then you're back in the clear. Didn't intend on rhyming there, but hey. So many zombos. Gosh, there's so many zombies in this game. I forgot how many there are. Oh no! Ay. My God, this game was so gory. I mean, it's funny because you compare gore now to the way it was back then. Like, it's so much worse now. Like, and I can understand why maybe some parents wouldn't want their kids playing M-rated games at such a young age now. But back then, it wasn't that bad, honestly. I mean, like, fine, it's gory and stuff, but it's still so pixelated and so hard to make things out sometimes that you don't know what's what. And I was never freaked out by M-rated graphics or anything like that as a kid at all. I mean, it was, you know, it was very old school graphics, so you can't really tell. Can't really tell usually like what's what, and you know what it is, but it's still very fake looking. Put it that way. Like her kicking that zombie's head off. I mean, if anything, it looks more comical now than it would look freaky back then. Oh. Trying to shoot the barrel. Oh, I think if you don't shoot the barrel, Mikhail uses it later on to beat the zombies with. Funny thing is, I can just literally use this right now.
one of the survivors from the rescue team, right?
Nikolai.
I just ran into your teammate.
Another secret villain.
Hey, I'm no ordinary civic. I'm a member of STARS.
I like that. So badass. Just shutting down his little claim. Like, oh, how could a girl like you survive? She's like, excuse me, I'm part of STARS, bro.
Hey.
Just because I'm a woman doesn't mean I can't survive this situation, you know? Like that. Definite, iconic, glass ceiling breaking moment there.
They're coming. Get ready. Fire. Fire. Stay together.
Calm down. You're safe now.
Poor Mikhail.
Everything is gonna be okay.
Something's very different about this version too is I forgot, in the original game he's really badly injured. Whereas in the remake, he's not really. I mean, it's very clear that they've gone through some hell, these poor guys. I mean, they've, fought the zombies in this big crowd, and as you saw in the intro, a lot of them were killed. So the survivors, were pretty battered and bruised. They trudge on. Should get them.
No, we can't trust her.
Coming from you?
Why? But Sergeant, we need her help. Our unit's down to you, me, and Lieutenant Mikhail. That's it. And Mikhail's hurt bad. If we don't cooperate, we won't be walking away from this mission.
Fine. Then let's go over our plan. We're moving to the clock tower area, which is the designated landing zone for the extraction chopper. Once we get there and give the signal, the chopper will fly in and pull us out.
That's a lot of ground to cover. I don't think we can make it on foot.
The main problem we have is that the landing zone is cut off from here by the fire. So we have no choice but to use this cable car to navigate through it. Fortunately, we can also use it as a moving shield to get us through the worst areas.
That works for me. Good plan, sir.
Okay, people, let's get moving.
Jill, put this on.
Nice. So, it's super cool about what he just gave her. Expands her arsenal immensely. And it becomes part of like her official outfit, throughout the years. Whenever they bring back this miniskirt outfit in some way, it usually has those little green tactical add-on pieces that expand like the. Sad that I don't know what it's called, but yeah. Oh no. Yeah, definitely need to do some healing. One thing I love too, I was mentioning before about the voice actress of Jill in this game, who went on to be in the Good Witch movies and TV series as the mayor. She holds a fondness for this role in her heart. I love it. She did an interview actually pretty recently, after she already hit success with the big Good Witch show. She came back and did an interview with it was a gaming forum or some sort of I think it was a YouTuber or someone that creates content. It was on their website, and content creator, let's just put it that way. And he had an interview with her about what it's like for her all these years later, looking back on Resident Evil and looking back on Jill Valentine. And I was listening to some of the interviews. She really just hold a fondness for her experience playing Jill in this game and looks back on it very, you know, lovingly, and it's so cool to see that, you know. I love that. It's so awesome to see, you know, someone who played a voice actor in a video game and then ended up doing live action work, you know, before and after it, and still holding this experience very close to their heart and being so proud to have portrayed such an defining moment in this character's arc, you know. But yeah, so that's Resident Evil 3 for now. You know, if be happy to do a full playthrough of these games eventually, but so what was I gonna say? So that's Resident Evil 3 for now, and long story short, you know, her and Carlos escape the city. She defeats the Nemesis. There's some iconic moments in there that you know, I won't be able to really show right now, but I'll be happy to do a further playthrough of these games another time. Oh, shotgun bullets. Put those to save in the thing. But yeah, so let's move. We're gonna move from here. So after Resident Evil 3, we don't see Jill for a while until Resident Evil 5, which is the last mainline game where she really had a very abundant presence, let's put it that way. Alright, so let's move on to that game. So, I mean, technically Resident Evil Revelations is the next story in her timeline, but since I do have a copy of that one here. But the main stuff that happens in that game happens sort of later on. In the story, that is. So since I haven't made too much progress in that game on the PC yet, I didn't wanna I didn't wanna you know, sort of jump into that right now. There we go. Just trying to make it full screen. Evil 5. So, interesting thing about what happened. So, okay. Let's start with the Return to Nightmares. Oh, Lost in Nightmares, sorry. Situation. Of course I'm gonna play as Jill. But I do like how they have you choose between Chris and Jill like Resident Evil 1. It's just such... Resident Evil 5, for all the criticism this era gets, I loved Resident Evil 5 for bringing back those two icons. Bringing back the original two, you know. Bringing them back to have a starring moment here. And even though this is a side story, it mostly focuses on Chris. But Jill gets this shining moment in the game, and also in this extra DLC content, where you get to actually play as her. See, they're searching for Wesker. This is many years later. They've been through a lot since then. Jill escaped the city and ended up joining BSAA, which is a global task force that is assigned to hunt down and fight bioterrorism worldwide. And you know, Chris by now has gone through a lot. He went through the events of 1 and Code Veronica, which is a separate story that we might look into another day. And Jill went through the events of 1 and 3. So she's been through a lot. And so they both end up joining the same task force and end up having to work together again, which is super cool. Little reunion of old survivors, you know, who've been through hell and came out the other side. So yeah, so we start out in this very interesting situation. So this Spencer estate, I mean, this particular Spencer estate, you know, a different mansion, ironically, is very giving us very, very, very clear Resident Evil 1 vibes. So after the events of the previous games, they get assigned to this mission, where then they have to investigate this estate where they believe they'll find information on Albert Wesker, their former boss, who ended up surviving the horrific events of Part 1 and being attacked by the Tyrant. And so they're assigned to this mission by the BSAA and end up running into Wesker all those years later. And it's crazy. It's quite an eventful moment in their lives. Whoa, freaky.
Eagle 5 to nest. Come in.
Love that badass kick.
Corpses, possibly Spencer's bodyguards. From what I can see, they appear to have been killed by unconventional means.
Roger that. We knew this mission wouldn't be a cakewalk. Use extreme caution.
Amazing. This is like RE1, but in over-the-shoulder perspective kind of feel right now because of the mansion aesthetic. This is actually the first time I'm playing through this. I haven't played the Lost in Nightmares DLC before. So, it's a relatively short story, so I think I'm going to try to see if we can play through it all together. Because this was a critical moment in their story, in Jill's story especially. Looks like the page from diary, some entries are missing. Password 3. Actually, I want to read it. Let's see. May 8th, 1998. Played poker tonight with Scott and Alias from security and Steve from research. Steve was a big winner, but I think he was cheating, that scumbag. Is this the Keeper's Diary? Oh my god, May 10, 1998. One of the higher-ups assigned me to take care of a new creature. Looks like a skinned gorilla to me. It is the Keeper's Diary. Scott said there had been an incident in the basement lab. I just knew something like this would happen. Those bastards in research never sleep, not even on holidays. May 12, 1998. I've been wearing this damn spacesuit since yesterday. My skin's getting grimy and feels itchy all over. May 16, 1998. Rumors around that a researcher who tried to escape the estate last night was shot. My entire body feels hot and itchy and I'm sweating all the time now. I scratched a swelling on my arm and a rotten piece of flesh just dropped off. What the hell's happening to me? May 19th, 1998. Fever gone but itchy. Today hungry and eat doggy food. For itchy and tasty. So, wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that they had an abridged version of the Keeper's Diary. So the Keeper's Diary was this incredibly freaky document. Because one of the things that's so awesome about Resident Evil, the franchise in general, is the building of the story and the world through these files that you find where you read through, like the one we just read in Resident Evil 3 about the journalist. So they really helped to build. They really helped to build the story on the world of the games, and the Keeper's Diary is probably one of the more infamous ones. So it's one of the documents from Part 1. I should have probably tried to find it before because it is a really good find in the first game. So you find this document about a researcher or someone who's part of the team that was experimenting with the virus, and you just read this really chilling account of him, seeing all hell start to break loose and the slow but sure kind of descent into madness that's happening around him, and it's so creepy. And you find out that eventually he got infected too, and then the diary ends with him sort of in his really super infected state, I think right before he became a full zombie, but he's almost there, talking feel better, but eat doggy food. And then he sees his former partner, and he confesses to killing his former partner, saying that he had an ugly face, so I killed him. And he goes, itchy, tasty, so implying that he was eating the body of his former partner. And it was crazy story. I mean, it's really creepy. It's something you could definitely one of the best examples of world building through the documents that Resident Evil does so well.
Kind of takes you back, doesn't it?
To Raccoon City? Unfortunately, yeah. That's where all this started.
Hard to
There you
believe
go.
that
See,
8 years ago.
8 years.
Guess I am getting older.
You're not the only one.
Crazy. So Chris and Jill, putting them in their in the ages now. So Chris was 25. 8 years later, he's 33. Jill is now 31 years old. So now they're in their 30s. And another password. And so it's really cool to see these characters kind of grow and the lore expand and see them from where they come from to now, even though this technically is actually already a while back. This story takes place, I think, in 1998. This is 2006, and so the new game takes place, I think, in the modern day, like 2020, 2021. So it's already 14 years later that the new game takes place, Resident Evil Village, that is. So Chris Redfield we're going to see in that game is definitely an older, more seasoned Redfield. So he's 33 in 2006. Then in the new game, he is 40. Let's see. 40. If it's 2020, let's say. Or 2021. He's sorry, I'm just trying to figure out where to go. Sorry. Shoot, he's 43 in 2016. So 4 years after that. He's 47. So he's 47 or 48. Just crazy, man. Our original heroes are getting up there in age, man. It's crazy. I mean, the franchise is officially 25 years old, So, I mean, it's expected that our characters are going to grow and get older, as time goes on. But it's just crazy to think, right? That Chris and Jill are almost in their 50s. They're in their 40s now. And there's going to come a time where they're going to retire. And, and who knows what's going to happen. Who's going to take the reins from them, I mean, I know we have the new character from 7, but, he seems to be someone that sort of was thrust into the situation rather than a seasoned vet well, technically so were they, but they were part of, a task force at least. He was sort of just a civilian that got thrown into the situation. The guy from part 7, that is. Ethan, sorry, I don't know why I couldn't remember his name. So wait, I have 2 passwords. I seem to be missing one, or something. So it's just awesome to see Jill, here now in this time after everything she's been through. She went through the mansion incident, she escaped Raccoon City and, overcame the really, really, very, dangerous and, incredibly powerful Nemesis. And, after everything she's went through and now she's fighting for this task force against bioterrorism. Definitely one of the most, if not the most qualified people to be part of this person to be part of this task force. After having discovered Umbrella's, evil plot along with Chris and her fellow STARS members, and God bless living through the nightmare to fight another day. I can't think of anyone who's more deserving of the position that she has now in this game, and Chris as well. Oh, you see? There's a little...
You can still play it?
You mean right now? I don't know. It's been a while.
It's so funny. I like how they're throwing all these nods to the original game in this DLC chapter. It's awesome. The mansion looks like the mansion from part 1. And they're talking about Moonlight Sonata. Oops. I didn't realize I had to keep pressing X. And they literally have her play Moonlight Sonata. Oops. They literally have her play Moonlight Sonata, just like in part 1. It's like she has to... It's amazing how she has to do this thing that she did all those years ago. Kind of like reminding her of her past and her having to do something she did in that defining kind of experience in her past. Again, now much later, not much later, but now later in her life. where she's more seasoned and has been through a lot since even that experience. Must have been interesting for her to have to... Oh, wow. It must have been interesting for her to have to kind of remember her past in that moment. And do something that she did back in that first experience that changed her life forever. The experience being the Spencer Mansion incident, of course. I actually learned how to play Moonlight Sonata just because of Jill playing it in part 1. It made me want to learn how to play the song. Oh my god. I actually still remember how to play it a little bit. I would have to mess around with it a little bit, but I think I could be able to play it. Such an iconic song from this series. Of course, it comes from long ago, many moons ago. A composer, it was Beethoven. I forgot who did Moonlight Sonata, honestly, my bad. But you know, obviously it existed before Resident Evil, but I think Resident Evil helped it be helped a lot of younger kids like myself get learn about Moonlight Sonata and you know, get familiar with it on that level. Oh, what is that? And what is this?
Come on! Roger.
First enemy encounter. But what is it? Thankfully, he's stuck on a wall, but... Freak that. Well, this is the bathroom. He's coming down the stairs. I can hear it. I believe this goes upstairs. No, wait. I saw somewhere where there's a shield that needs to... Is it that? There we go. Yo, the atmosphere is just so awesome here. I love it. This lock is child's play. Even all those years later, Jill is still the master of unlocking. Ah, there he goes. He goes, you haven't lost your touch. I love that that's such an iconic aspect of her character. It's just being this master of unlocking, as they say. Oh, I have the 3 passwords. Or I have 2. How do I use... Maybe I have to find the 3rd password before I can... Nice. Oh, heat sensitive paper. So I have to figure out.
Come on! Roger!
And there's heat right here. How do I use items? Those little collectibles.
Come on! Okay.
I forget how I check like files and stuff in this game that I carry. Unless you don't carry files. It's been a while since I played 5. I don't remember if you actually are able to carry files in this game or not.
Thanks for the help.
Oh.
Come on! Roger!
Oh. That freaked me out. Very Resident Evil 1 kind of moment there. Somebody's playing the piano. I think we're getting closer to the end because you can hear, I think it's Wesker playing the piano. I think. In the fireplace? There we go. All right, time to go back to the passwords. There we go. probably information I should definitely check out later, but yeah. For sake of brevity, I'm not. Oh. Oh, what? What the hell? This is a very Resident Evil 1 moment here.
We gotta shut it off.
The hell? What do I do? Ah! Oh no! Oh jeez. No! Oh. Oh. Oh my god. Oh, he go first.
We gotta shut it off.
Seriously? Oof.
Let's hope all the rooms aren't rigged like this.
Gotta love Jill, resourceful as always. Oh, Crank. Very Resident Evil 3-ish. And 1-ish. Alright, square shaped, so that means that this crank needs to be utilized downstairs to open that weird section. No, thank you, Chris. Wonder what this section. Excuse me.
What is that smell?
Ugh.
No. I hope we don't run into whatever's making it.
And when have we ever been that lucky?
Freaky. Ooh, experimentations. Oh!
Get out of my way.
This thing doesn't know when to quit.
That freaked me out. Holy shit. Oh no. We have to kill it, I guess? Oh shit. Damn. The heck are those things?
What is that smell?
Don't know. I hope we don't run into whatever's making it.
And when have we ever been that lucky?
See, the voice actress for Jill in the remake in 5 is definitely awesome. A different take than what we got in Resident Evil 3 for sure, but very cool nonetheless. I forgot the name of the actress as well, but I know she was, I think, the voice in both remake and 5, or I think just there were 2 different actresses for one and the other. These classic zombies.
Get out of my way. This thing doesn't know when to quit. Take this. You bailed me out.
Man, what are these things? Creepy. Jeez, these things are wild. Oh, forgot there's another one. Help, Chris. Oh, come on, Chris, come. Forgot there's another one. That's...
What is that smell?
Don't know. I hope we don't run into whatever's making it.
And when have we ever been that lucky?
Love the sass that she delivers that line with. It's like, when have we ever been that lucky?
Use this. Okay.
I love how this Lost in Nightmares DLC serves as a big horror section for Resident Evil 5.
Get
Ooh.
out of my way.
As opposed to the more action-focused base of the rest of the game, this is very, very horror-oriented, which is awesome.
Much appreciated. Come on. Okay. Much appreciated.
Hand me a good
Take this.
Ah. Move. Oh goodness. These things are annoying. Another one. It's wild. That means another. Oh. Shit. Help me.
Thanks. Come on.
Roger. Take this.
Those dudes are nuts. Find the key. Hopefully that's the key. Yes. I love her BSAA outfit also. It's really cool. Whatever her iconic look said. The Resident Evil 3 look, of course, the mini skirt and two-top is her most iconic look, but the STARS uniform and the BSAA outfit are also awesome, fashionable looks on her. Yeah. And there's a lot of these guys. Still alive. Oh my goodness. Shit, we're stuck. Finally, the thing is freaking, not finally, but not finally. Let's see. What? What? Oh. Oh no! Come on, come on, come on, come on. Man, I could've just done that earlier. Man, this is a much longer section than I thought it was gonna be.
I'm fine, but I lost most of my gear.
Same here. Alright, try to find a way out of there, and I'll find a way to meet up with you.
Copy that. Watch your back.
So I have no items. Which in a way kind of works out because I barely had any ammo anyway. Oh. Oh, that badass climb mechanic. No. Are you kidding me? Now I have to escape from one of these things without any weapons. Bonkers.
Okay. I'm ready here. Draw in. Just be careful. Glad that's over. Okay.
This is new. It's a green. Oh, thank goodness.
Chris! Okay. I'm ready here. Draw him in. Just be careful.
is it? So where is it? But oh, where is it?
I'm ready here. Draw him in. Just be careful. Glad that's over.
Pick it up.
Okay.
This is where they finally meet Wesker. Ah, Wesker, their old boss slash captain slash son of a bitch. Oh, what the hell? Also, you actually participate in the battle between Wesker and... Oh, shit. Damn, my health is hardly low. Oh, so I didn't know you actually fight in the battle with Wesker. That's super cool. And it's very much a QTE battle in a lot of ways, but... regular bullets don't seem to affect him very much. Oh yeah, it's so fast that it's hard to keep track. Dang, I keep trying to dodge him and... Yo, it's so fast. Damn.
Thanks for the help.
Damn. God, Wesker. He's such a classic villain though in RE. I think he's like one of the most iconic villains of Resident Evil. If not the most. I mean, me personally have a sweet spot for Nemesis, but and I think he's one of the most unique villains that the series ever gave us. But, you know, Wesker definitely has that evil villain status. Wow.
Much appreciated.
Wow. Damn it. Dang. Dang. He's crazy as a boss. Oh no. So you have to catch him at the right moment. Dang. Help, Chris. Yeah, this is definitely a QTE fight. I kicked X. Press X. press X.
Ignorant creature.
Wow.
Watch out!
What the fuck?
Watch out!
I pressed the X. Oh, what an ass.
Ignorant creature.
Whoa. What the? Oh. Okay.
Are you trying to make me angry?
Oh gosh, thank goodness we got to the, thank goodness we got to the fight. This is the iconic moment, one of the most crucial moments in Jill's life, and both of their lives, Chris and Jill's life, where they face their former captain in battle, and after finding out his whereabouts after all many years, there are 8 years of having faced from when they last faced him in the original Resident Evil, and clearly he's been mutated because he's moving very quickly and has an almost Agent Smith-like quality to him. He's incredibly strong and he's incredibly violent, and he has this incredible sense of speed and strength that clearly shows that he's been injecting himself with some of the viruses to mutate his DNA. And so Jill valiantly sees her partner's about to be killed and decides instead to sacrifice herself to save his life. Or so we thought. And I remember how heartbroken I was thinking that she was actually gone. Very similar in a way to when I thought Lara Croft was dead in Tomb Raider. Like, it was just so heartbreaking to think that one of my icons had been killed off. And it was just super sad. But then we realized, actually, that she was alive. And it's actually Sheva, Chris's new partner in Resident Evil 5's main storyline, that realizes that she's alive. Forget what chapter it's in. Is it this one?
This ship is huge. Do you think they're planning to use it to spread Ouroboros?
No. Using a ship like this would give away their position too soon. They must have another.
Wow. Wild. Oh. These are wearing armor. I don't think it's this chapter. Hold on. She thinks it's before this.
What's all this nonsense about evolution and being worthy? What does she mean?
Something about a philosopher's stone and selecting DNA. Doesn't matter what she says. She's just a terrorist. End of story. We can't risk Ouroboros getting out of here and infecting people.
Then let's go take care of business.
Sheva.
Okay.
It's the same result. Not the same result, but... Oh, this looks like they look like those creatures from part 1. The weird like, insect-looking things from the remake. Huh.
Get this thing moving.
I'll check if I can move it from over there.
Chef is another one of the female icons of Resident Evil. Chris's partner throughout Resident Evil 5. She hasn't appeared since. She only came out of Resident Evil 5. She hasn't appeared since. There are some characters that do kind of appear for one installment, like Carlos, that you don't really see them again. But who knows if they'll appear in the future, especially Carlos. It's been a while since we've seen him. But then again, since he did appear in the remake, they probably won't show him, I guess, in a new installment, probably anytime soon. So, yeah.
No, something's stopping it.
It's going up again.
Shiva knows how to aim. It's crazy. Interesting. Could have swore we went down. I mean, up. part with the liquors in it? Because that's interesting.
More ruins. You think Excella is here?
If we want to find out, we're gonna have to lower that bridge.
Then we need to locate... Activate the elevator for me. Hold on. I'll check things out.
The Liquors, the most iconic mutant in Resident Evil. The Liquors. Ugh.
Sheva.
Roger. I'll activate the elevator for you.
Holy heck. God, that number of liquors will make even Leon Kennedy shit his pants. Oh, here's the definitive battle scene.
Damn it, where's Jill?
Jill? Maybe I'll tell you. Maybe I won't.
Yeah, say what you will about Resident Evil 5, but it had some crazy cool action sequences.
Stop playing around. We want some answers.
You haven't changed.
See, reunited with Wesker after all that time. From the sequence we saw before. This is Wesker. This is the famous Wesker.
Spencer estate, wasn't it? Well, isn't this one big family reunion?
See, right there's a little clue.
I would expect you to be happier to see us. But so slow to catch on.
Jill. What a mind-blowing moment that was. Our beloved Jill under mind control from Umbrella.
Jill, it's me, Chris.
What? Are you sure that's her?
The one and only.
In her now iconic battle suit. Holy shit, the level of badassery. I know she's under mind control from Umbrella, but holy hell, only Jill can fight like that.
Now, let's finish this once and for all. I think the odds are fair. 2 on 2. Right, Jill.
So yeah, poor Jill. After that sequence at the Spencer estate.
7 minutes ago, I was bad to play with.
What a cocky bastard. He's like, oh, 7 minutes old. So, after that sequence earlier, we saw them at the Spencer estate where they had their big battle with Wesker. And Chris is about to get killed, and Jill sacrifices herself to save him. She was then captured and taken hostage by Wesker and the people he was working for, and experimented on to an extent, where she was then kind of like experimented on with a sort of viral, I think, agent, and she then ended up having this weird kind of almost bug-looking like brooch encrusted on her chest, which then injects her with a sort of mind control agent. It's been a while since I read the story, so I believe that's what happened to her. I mean, I know that she ends up under their mind control. Let's just forget exactly how the little brooch thing works. How true that was. It's like a Metal Gear Solid fight right now. This fight, no lie, was the most Metal Gear Solid the Resident Evil series ever got. It's like I'm battling Liquid Snake right now or something. Or Vamp. Oh yeah, no, this is still too early in the fight for her to, the beetle emblem thing on her chest to be taken off because they don't know it's there yet.
You're merely postponing the inevitable.
Playtime is over. How fortunate for you.
I expected more of a challenge after all this time, Chris. How disappointing. Yes.
Go. Wesker, stop.
Oh, beautiful Jill, taken under Umbrella's control. They did try to adapt this in a way in the movie of Retribution, but it was they only took aspects of it. It was definitely a completely different story. The story here was definitely better. No, even though Sienna came back, which was awesome, but yes, yeah.
Has arrived. I'll leave you two to catch up.
Damn. Oh, the original two heroes fighting each other because one is under my control.
Remarkable. Still resisting at such an advanced stage. Commendable, yet futile. No more time for games, Chris. I've got work to do. Have fun watching Jill suffer.
Wait, what did you do to her?
And there you go, that's the key.
What's that on her chest?
We have to get it off her.
This is where they finally save Jill.
All right. And that's what we're gonna do.
Holy heck.
Jill, what are you doing?
Entreat. It's crazy how that's how strong Jill Valentine was. Even under that incredibly painful and incredibly powerful mind control, she's still able to resist on some level, even at such an advanced stage of the control. Nice. That was incredible. That was some incredible mind control. I mean, some incredible aiming, on Sheva's part. And she's blonde now. Here we go. Come on, take it off. Oh, oof. It was such one of the most emotional moments in the This fight was one of the most emotional moments in the Resident Evil series. Because, the two originals that started the series, Chris having to fight her in order to get her back to normal. To save her from this mind control. Wow. Oh, my health was low. I didn't realize that Sheva was about to croak. Freaking. It's crazy how in that animal-like state she doesn't speak and just makes noise and like was entreating them. Oh, she was like, "Here, I dare you to come fight me."
Stop this! Jill, answer me! It's me, Chris! Don't you recognize me?
We have to get that device off her chest!
Oh.
Come on, snap out of it!
Oh. Nice. Damn, Sheva.
Don't do this, Jill! I don't want to hurt you! Jill, what
This is definitely one of the most moving moments for a Resident Evil fan like myself, you know, who we love Jill so much, and you know, to see her go through this was heartbreaking, but we finally get her back after this, which was amazing. Oh, it was such a crazy battle, iconic battle.
Jill, answer me!
Damn, I'm terrible at dodging.
It's me, Chris! Don't you recognize me?
Thanks.
Come on, snap out of it! Don't do this, Jill!
We have to get that device off her chest!
I don't want to hurt you! Jill, what are you doing?
We have to get that device off her chest!
Stop this! Jill, answer me!
Come on, Sheva. Oh. Forgot this battle takes it takes a while. Oh, I'm terrible at dodging. No, Sheva. Are there any healing items? No, it doesn't seem like there is.
It's me, Chris! Don't you recognize me? Come on, snap out of it! Don't do this, Jill! I don't want to hurt you!
Chris,
Come on!
get the device!
Finally! Alright, Jill is back! Poor Jill went through all that, but
Jill. Jill.
at least she's back now.
Are you alright?
Chris. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
You're Sheva, right?
Yes.
I couldn't control my actions. Oh my god, I was still aware. Oh, forgive me.
It's all right.
Thank you. Listen, I'm gonna be alright. You do need to stop him.
We can't just leave you here.
You have to. This is your only chance. If Wesker succeeds, Uroboros will be spread across the globe. Millions will die.
Oh, yeah, but...
I'm alright. You need to stop him.
Need the Honorable Jill putting the mission
You're
first.
the only one who can. Before it's too late. Don't you trust your partner?
Aw, his former partner saying that he doesn't trust his new partner. Aw. Oh, this is one of the most beautiful sequences in Resident Evil history.
Take care of him.
Aw. The crazy thing is that, and she comes back later, she helps them out a little bit. But, I mean, she helps them out a lot, actually.
I'm alright.
But, save for helping them in the final battle, after this, we don't really see Jill again in Resident Evil in a very substantial role, sad to say. According to the online information, she lives on, and she gets treated at a BSSAA health facility for a little while, where she had to stay in order to get like her body sort of like, I guess, cleansed of the viral agents and everything, and like the mind control agent and all that. And so yeah, she said she was bored. I remember it was funny in the notes. They say that she feels rather bored being stuck in the facility and having to get healed and all that. I mean, she knows it's important, but all that time in the facility, she feels bored, and she can't wait to get back out there. Gotta love it. So what an emotional story we just saw, and that's basically kind of Jill's overall arc, but save for the chapter of Revelations that we didn't really go through. But her main arc essentially was what we saw, and we didn't see all of it, but we saw some of the more pivotal moments there, and at least in terms of her chapter in Resident Evil 5. But I mean, I'm gonna leave it there for tonight, guys, because it's getting a little late. So I'm gonna end the remake, Resident Evil 3 remake, which is, in a way, I left that one for last because that's the newest iteration of Jill that we've seen, even though technically it's a remake of an old story that takes place even before what we just saw. It's still like the newest introduction to Jill we've had in modern times. So